You are sitting still right now, comfortable and safe. But that is a comforting illusion created by your limited perception of reality. In the time it takes you to blink, you, your house, and this entire planet have moved thousands of kilometers through the void. We are not drifting aimlessly through the cosmos. We are being hunted, dragged by an invisible tether towards a specific point in the dark. Astronomers call it the Great Attractor, a gravitational anomaly that shouldn't exist according to our standard models of physics. For decades, we stared at the sky and saw nothing but peace, unaware that a cosmic titan was slowly reeling us in. The terrifying part isn't just the speed at which we are moving, it is the sheer mass required to generate this kind of gravitational pull. Whatever lies at the center of this web is millions of times more massive than our entire galaxy combined. But when we look towards this monster to identify it, we find ourselves staring directly into a blind spot. Our own galaxy, the Milky Way, blocks our view, filling the sky with dust and stars that hide the horror behind them. This is the zone of avoidance, a region of space that has kept humanity ignorant of its final destination for centuries. Imagine driving a car at maximum speed down a highway at night, but your windshield is painted black. That is the situation of the human race. We are careening towards a crash site we are physically unable to see. The numbers, however, do not lie, and the mathematical data suggests something catastrophic is waiting for us in the deep universe. Every galaxy in our neighborhood, including Andromeda and the Triangulum, is rushing toward this same mysterious gravitational drain. It behaves like a river of galaxies, a cosmic current flowing inevitably toward a waterfall we cannot comprehend. In the 1970s, astronomers measuring the cosmic microwave background radiation noticed a disturbing temperature shift in the data. One side of the universe appeared hotter and the other side cooler, a telltale sign of the Doppler effect. This meant we were moving much faster than the expansion of the universe could explain, a violation of the expected cosmic order. We are moving at 600 kilometers per second, a velocity that requires a gravitational source of impossible magnitude. To generate that kind of pull, the attractor would need the mass of tens of thousands of galaxies condensed into one region. Yet, when we point our most powerful radio telescopes at the coordinates, the signal is messy, obscured, and confusing. It feels like the universe is conspiring to hide this secret from us, placing the anomaly exactly where we cannot look. The zone of avoidance covers 20% of our sky, a massive curtain drawn across the theater of the cosmos. Behind that curtain, entire clusters of galaxies are being swallowed, and we can only measure their dying screams. As technology advanced, we began to peer through the dust using X-ray astronomy, hoping to map the monster. What we found was the Norma cluster, a massive city of galaxies, but it wasn't heavy enough to explain the speed. The math was still wrong. The Norma cluster was a pebble when we needed a boulder to explain the gravitational pull. The source of the pull was further away, deeper in the shadow, much larger than anything we had dared to imagine. We discovered the Shapley supercluster, a titanic aggregation of mass that dwarfs everything in our local corner of reality. But even Shapley, with its immense weight, is not enough to account for the velocity at which we are traveling. There is something else, something beyond the superclusters, pulling the strings of our galactic destiny from the dark. We are merely debris caught in a landslide, tumbling down a gravitational slope that has no bottom. The scary realization is that the universe is not uniform. It is lumpy, chaotic, and dangerously unbalanced. We live in a suburb of the cosmos that is being drained into a metropolitan nightmare of crushed matter. Scientists have recently mapped these flows and realized we belong to a structure called Laniakea, the immeasurable heaven. Laniakea is a supercluster of 100,000 galaxies, and every single one of them is sliding toward the same point. It looks like a neural network, a brain synapse, where the galaxies are merely thoughts racing toward a central decision. But if we are being pulled from the front, we are also being pushed from behind, adding to the terror. There is a vast void behind us, a region of space so empty it acts like a repulsive force. They call it the dipole repeller, a cosmic dead zone that is shoving our galaxy into the mouth of the attractor. We are trapped between a pusher and a puller, caught in a celestial pincer movement of incomprehensible scale. The emptiness behind us is expanding, clearing out matter, isolating us and forcing us forward into the trap. This is not just astrophysical trivia. This is the fundamental architecture of our doom, written in the motion of stars. If you could see gravity, the sky would look like a whirlpool, and we would be a small boat near the edge. The Great Attractor is not just a location. It is a destiny that we cannot escape, no matter how we struggle. Even as the universe expands and pushes things apart, gravity here is winning, knitting us together for a final collision. What happens when we arrive? What happens when billions of stars are forced into the same cosmic parking spot? The light from that region is old, meaning we are seeing the ghosts of galaxies that may have already been consumed. We are looking at a crime scene that is millions of years cold, trying to reconstruct the killer's profile. The universe is not a static stage. It is a violent, shifting ocean, and there is a storm ahead. To understand the sheer impossibility of what is happening to our galaxy, we must first understand the fundamental law that governs the architecture of the cosmos, the Hubble flow. For nearly a century, we have known that the universe is expanding, ballooning outward from the moment of the Big Bang. In a sane, predictable universe, every galaxy should be moving away from every other galaxy, like dots on the surface of an inflating balloon. This expansion is the baseline reality, the standard current of the cosmic river. If you look at a distant star, it should be redshifted, moving away from you. But when we look at the data for the Milky Way and our neighbors, the local group, we find a terrifying violation of this law. We're not just drifting with the current. We are swimming upstream, cutting across the expansion at a velocity that defies the standard model of cosmology. We are fighting the very fabric of space-time to reach a destination that seems to be calling us from the dark, a movement that astronomers call peculiar velocity, a polite term for a cosmic anomaly that suggests the universe is not as uniform or safe as we were told. The distinction between the expansion of the universe and our own peculiar motion is the smoking gun of this cosmic mystery. Imagine you are on a train moving forward at a steady speed, that is the Hubble expansion, carrying everyone apart. Now imagine that while the train moves forward, you get up and sprint toward the back of the car. That sprint is our peculiar velocity. The force required to generate this motion is immense. It requires a gravitational master that overpowers the energy of the Big Bang itself locally. We are moving at 600 kilometers per second toward the constellations of Hydra and Centaurus. This isn't a drift, it's a plummet. The gravity pulling us is so intense that it renders the expansion of the universe irrelevant in our local sector. We are being reeled in by a fisherman whose line is made of warped space-time, and for decades, we couldn't even see the boat because our own galaxy was standing in the way, blindfolding us at the moment of our abduction. The investigation into this gravitational anomaly was stalled for years by a cruel cosmic joke, the zone of avoidance. This is the band of the Milky Way that cuts across our night sky, a beautiful glowing river of stars that, to an astronomer, is a frustrating wall of noise. The center of our galaxy is packed with dense clouds of interstellar dust, gas, and bright stars that block visible light from entering. It acts exactly like a dirty windshield, obscuring everything that lies behind it. As fate would have it, the Great Attractor, the very thing pulling us to our doom, sits directly behind the thickest part of this wall. It is the perfect hiding spot. If the anomaly were located in the direction of the Big Dipper or Orion, we would have spotted it centuries ago. Instead, it lurks in the blind spot, allowing it to exert its influence unseen, pulling the strings of our galaxy while remaining cloaked in the shadows of our own backyard. We could not stay blind forever. Humanity's obsession with the unknown drove us to develop new eyes that could see through the dust and gas of the zone of avoidance. We moved beyond the visible spectrum of light and began to scan the sky in infrared and radio waves. These wavelengths are longer. They can slip through the dense clouds of galactic dust like a ghost walking through a wall. In the late 20th century, radio astronomers began to map the hidden sector of the sky, counting galaxies that had been invisible to optical telescopes. As the data poured in, a picture began to form. A picture of a crowded, chaotic region of space where there should have been emptiness. We found that the zone of avoidance wasn't empty. It was teeming with galaxies, a bustling metropolis of matter that had been hidden from us since the dawn of our species. But counting the galaxies wasn't enough. We had to measure their movement, and that's when the true horror of the situation revealed itself. The breakthrough came from a group of astronomers who would later be known as the Seven Samurai. They weren't looking for a monster. They were simply trying to map the motion of elliptical galaxies to understand the texture of the universe. But the numbers they returned were shocking. They discovered that the Milky Way, along with millions of other galaxies, was streaming toward a specific point in the sky with a uniformity that suggested a massive, coherent flow. This wasn't random turbulence. This was a directed current. They coined the term great attractor to describe the source of this pull. At the time, they hypothesized it was a single, titanic object, perhaps a black hole of impossible proportions or a dense knot of dark matter. The discovery sent shivers through the scientific community because it implied a concentration of mass so high that it threatened to break our understanding of how matter is distributed in the universe. We had found the drain, and we were swirling around it. As the resolution of our telescopes improved, the theory of a single, supermassive object began to crumble, replaced by something even more unsettling. The Great Attractor wasn't one thing, it was a place. A central hub of the cosmic web where the strands of the universe were knotted together. We identified the Norma Cluster, a massive swarm of galaxies near the center of the attraction. But there was a problem. The investigative journalists of astrophysics ran the numbers, and the mass of the Norma Cluster was simply not enough. It was heavy, yes, but not heavy enough to drag the Milky Way across the universe at 600 kilometers per second. It was like blaming a single magnet for derailing a freight train. The math didn't balance. There was missing mass, a dark component to the pull that we still couldn't see. The Great Attractor was merely the front door to a much larger, darker mansion that extended far deeper into the unobservable reaches of space. We looked past the Norma Cluster, straining our instruments to the absolute limit, and that is when we found the monster behind the monster. Looming in the background, hundreds of millions of light-years further away, was the Shapley Supercluster. If the Norma Cluster is a city, the Shapley Supercluster is a continent. It is the most massive concentration of galaxies in our local universe, a gravitational titan containing more than 8,000 galaxies packed into a volume of space that bends the light of everything behind it. The discovery of Shapley seemed to solve the puzzle. Here was the weight, the sheer mass required to generate the river of galaxies we were caught in. But nature is rarely so kind as to give us a simple answer. Even with the immense mass of the Shapley Supercluster added to the equation, the velocity of the Milky Way was still too fast. We were falling faster than even Shapley could pull us. The mystery wasn't solved, it had just gotten bigger. The realization that the Shapley Supercluster wasn't the sole culprit forced us to rethink our place in the cosmos entirely. We began to map the flows of the universe, treating galaxies like particles of water in a vast ocean. This led to the definition of Laniakea, our home supercluster. The name means immeasurable heaven in Hawaiian, and it represents a watershed of gravity. Just as water flows down mountains into valleys and lakes, gravity flows down the curves of space-time into basins of attraction. We discovered that the Milky Way is just a speck on the outskirts of this structure, drifting toward the gravitational valley at its center. We are not independent wanderers. We are part of a massive, coherent structure, a limb of a giant beast. But Laniakea itself is moving. The entire supercluster, with its 100,000 galaxies, is being hauled towards something else, something even further away, suggesting a hierarchy of monsters that goes on forever. While we were obsessed with what was pulling us, we almost missed the terror of what was pushing us. A crime scene investigation requires looking at all forces involved, and we found that the Milky Way is caught in a pincer movement. Behind us, in the opposite direction of the Great Attractor, lies a region of space that is terrifyingly empty. This is the dipole repeller. It is a cosmic void, a region where matter is so sparse that it effectively acts as a repulsive force. In the strange arithmetic of gravity, an underdense region pushes matter away simply because the tug from the other side is unopposed. It's like a vacuum cleaner. The void doesn't push, but the lack of gravity there makes the pull from the Shapley Supercluster feel even stronger. We are running away from the nothingness, sprinting toward the crush of the attractor, trapped between infinite emptiness and infinite density. The existence of the dipole repeller changes the psychological landscape of our cosmic journey. It means we are being evicted. The region of space we are leaving is becoming increasingly barren, a desolate wasteland where galaxies are rare and the lights are going out. We are fleeing a desert to join a stampede. The repeller clarifies why our speed is so high. It provides the kick from behind that, combined with the pull from the front, accelerates us to these breakneck velocities. But this solution only works if the universe ends where our maps end. The problem is, the flow seems to continue past the theoretical limits of our vision. The river doesn't stop at the Shapley supercluster. It rushes past it, carrying us toward a horizon we can never see, hinting at a structure so vast it might be larger than the observable universe itself. This brings us to the most controversial and unsettling hypothesis in modern astrophysics: dark flow. In the early 2000s, researchers studying the cosmic microwave background, the afterglow of the Big Bang, noticed a peculiar pattern. Clusters of galaxies all across the sky seemed to be drifting in a uniform direction, a flow that spanned billions of light years. This movement could not be explained by the distribution of matter within the observable universe. The gravity required to move entire clusters of galaxies across the entire visible sky would need to come from a source outside the observable universe. Think about the implications of that statement. It suggests that there is something massive, something titanic, lurking beyond the edge of the light horizon, effectively outside our universe, dragging everything inside it towards the wall. It forces us to ask, is our universe just a bubble floating in a much larger, much darker ocean? The concept of dark flow challenges the very pillars of cosmology, because it implies the universe is not the same in all directions. If there's a massive attractor outside our observable bubble, it breaks the principle of isotropy, the idea that the universe looks roughly the same no matter where you are. Instead, it suggests the universe is tilted or slanted, sliding towards a drain that we can never see because the light from it hasn't had time to reach us since the beginning of time. We are like ants on a leaf floating down a river. We can see the leaf, we can see the water immediately around us, but we cannot see the waterfall that is creating the current. We can only feel the acceleration. The silence of the data beyond the horizon is the loudest sound in astrophysics. It is the sound of a monster that is too big to fit in our reality. To understand why we can't see the source of dark flow, we have to confront the limits of human knowledge, the particle horizon. The universe is 13.8 billion years old, which means we can only see light that has traveled for that amount of time. If a massive object lies 15 billion light years away, its light has not reached us yet. It is causally disconnected from us. We cannot see it, photograph it, or measure it directly, yet gravity has an infinite range. If a structure existed shortly after the Big Bang and pushed or pulled on the matter that would eventually become our galaxy, the momentum of that push would still be felt today. We are feeling the ghostly tug of a colossus that is buried in the future, or perhaps buried in the past, hidden behind the curtain of the speed of light. We are forensic analysts trying to solve a crime where the killer is hiding in a room that doesn't statistically exist. Evidence for this tilt in the universe also appears in the temperature of the cosmos. The cosmic microwave background should be uniform, a steady 2.7 Kelvin everywhere you look. But it isn't. There is a dipole anisotropy, a slight difference in temperature that aligns perfectly with our motion towards the great attractor. But even stranger is the cold spot, a massive region in the southern hemisphere of the sky that is significantly colder than it should be. It is a giant hole in the heat map of the infant universe. Some theorists suggest this cold spot could be the imprint of a collision, a bruise left behind when another universe bumped into ours billions of years ago. If true, the great attractor and the dark flow might be the result of gravity leaking in from a parallel reality, a multiverse interaction that is dragging our galaxy toward a cosmic exit. Let's step back from the multiverse precipice and look at the immediate neighborhood, the victims traveling with us in this caravan of the damned. The Virgo cluster serves as our nearest metropolitan center, a collection of roughly 2,000 galaxies located about 54 million light-years away. For a long time, we thought we were falling into the Virgo cluster, that it was the main source of gravity acting on us. And indeed, we are falling toward it. But the terrifying part is that the Virgo cluster itself is moving. It is being pulled even faster towards the great attractor. We are falling onto a moving train that is itself falling off a cliff. The hierarchy of consumption is clear. Satellite galaxies fall into spirals. Spirals fall into clusters. Clusters fall into superclusters. And superclusters slide into the maw of the Great Attractor. It is a food chain of gravity, and we are at the bottom. The texture of this food chain is what astronomers call the cosmic web. If you zoom out far enough, the universe looks like a sponge or a neural network. Galaxies are not scattered randomly. They are strung along glowing filaments of gas and dark matter, bridging the gaps between massive voids. We are currently sliding along one of these filaments, a strand of the web known as the Laniakea superstructure. These filaments are the highways of the universe, the transport system that gravity uses to consolidate matter. The Great Attractor sits at the junction of several of these massive filaments. Like a spider sitting at the center of a web, feeling the vibrations of every galaxy trapped in its silk. We are simply vibrations traveling down the thread, moving inevitably toward the waiting predator at the nexus. What happens to the galaxies that have already arrived? The region around the Norma and Shapley clusters is a graveyard of ancient collisions. We see, quote, fossil groups, elliptical galaxies that have grown to enormous sizes by cannibalizing their neighbors. These act as warnings of our own future. When galaxies collide, the stars themselves rarely hit each other because the space between them is so vast. But the gas clouds crash together, igniting furious bursts of star formation before being stripped away. The structure of the galaxy is destroyed, the beautiful spiral arms shredded and homogenized into a shapeless blob. The Great Attractor is a machine that turns order into entropy, taking the intricate clockwork beauty of spiral galaxies and smashing them into dead, red elliptical piles of stars. We are bringing our beautiful spiral, the Milky Way, to be ground down in this cosmic mill. There is an urgency to this motion that transcends the slow timescales of the universe. While it will take billions of years for us to reach the core of the attractor, the effects are happening now. The sheer density of the region we are heading toward means that the environment is becoming more hostile. Intergalactic space in that direction is filled with hot gas, millions of degrees in temperature, glowing in X-rays. This is the intracluster medium, a soup of superheated plasma that strips galaxies of their star-forming gas as they plow through it. It is called ram pressure stripping. As we approach the dense regions of the Great Attractor, the Milky Way will essentially be suffocated. The gas we need to birth new stars will be blown away by the headwinds of our own journey, turning our galaxy into a zombie long before we ever merge with the central mass. But the scariest aspect of this investigation is the zone of avoidance itself. Not just as a visual barrier, but as a metaphor for human understanding. We have built our entire model of cosmology, the Big Bang, dark energy, the age of the universe, based on the light we can see. But a huge chunk of our local reality is hidden from us. What if our calculations for the expansion rate of the universe are wrong because we are sitting inside a unique high-density flow? There is a tension in modern physics called the Hubble tension, where different methods of measuring the universe's expansion give different answers. Some scientists speculate that our local, peculiar velocity towards the Great Attractor might be skewing the data, contaminating our understanding of the entire cosmos. We might be building our laws of physics on a foundation that is moving underneath our feet. We must also consider the role of dark matter in this mystery. The Great Attractor isn't just made of visible stars. It is primarily composed of dark matter, the invisible substance that makes up 85% of the matter in the universe. We can't see it, touch it, or interact with it, except through gravity. The Great Attractor is essentially a dark matter mountain, a colossal accumulation of this ghost material. The visible galaxies, like the Milky Way and Andromeda, are just lights stuck to the side of this mountain, tracing its shape in the dark. We are being pulled by a ghost. We are studying the movement of the lights to understand the shape of the invisible beast beneath. It turns the universe into a haunted house where the walls themselves are pulling us in, and the only proof we have is the speed at which we are falling. Let's deepen the mystery of the dipole repeller. If the Great Attractor is the drain, the repeller is the faucet. But how can nothing push? In general relativity, gravity is the curvature of spacetime. Matter curves space down, creating a well. A void, being empty, curves space less than the average universe. Relative to the average, it acts like a hill. So in a four-dimensional topographic map of the universe, we are rolling down a hill, the repeller, and into a valley, the attractor. We are sliding down the geometry of the universe itself. This confirms that space isn't just a container, it is an active participant in our destiny. The emptiness is weaponized against us. The void is not neutral. It is an active agent of expulsion, clearing the room and forcing us into the crowded corner of the great attractor. The scale of this structure, the combination of the repeller, the attractor, and the flow in between, dwarfs everything else we know. It spans over 1 billion light-years. To put that in perspective, if the solar system were the size of a grain of sand, this structure would be the size of the Pacific Ocean. And the current moves through the whole ocean. This implies a level of connectivity in the universe that we are only beginning to grasp. The universe is not a collection of isolated islands. It is a single, interconnected fluid system. A disturbance in the density field 1 billion light-years away ripples through the cosmos and grabs us. We are entangled with galaxies we will never see, bound by a gravitational pact, signed at the moment of the Big Bang. The local isolation we feel is an illusion. We are tethered to the monsters in the dark. Some astronomers have tried to look even further, past the Shapley supercluster, to see if the chain continues. They found the Vela supercluster, another massive concentration of matter hidden behind the dust of the Milky Way, located slightly to the side of the Great Attractor. It seems the Great Attractor might just be a connection point, a bridge to the Vela supercluster, which in turn might be a bridge to something else. It raises the terrifying possibility of an infinite regression of attractors. Is there ever a bottom? Or is the universe just a series of larger and larger Russian dolls of gravity? If the dark flow theory holds, the ultimate source might be a structure from the pre-inflationary epoch of the universe, a remnant of the chaos before the cosmos smoothed itself out. We are chasing a phantom that grows larger the closer we get to it. The philosophical implication of this flow is profound. It challenges the Copernican principle, which states that humans are not in a privileged or special position in the universe. If we live in a unique, high-velocity stream moving towards a massive anomaly, then our location is special, but not in a good way. We are in a danger zone. We are in a region of the universe defined by extreme flows and high-density contrasts. It suggests that the universe has geography, it has bad neighborhoods, and we are living in one that is being gentrified by gravity. The average universe is expanding peacefully, but our specific patch of spacetime is undergoing a violent compaction. We are the exception to the cosmic rule of peace and isolation. But what if the Great Attractor is a warning of the ultimate fate of the universe? We debate whether the universe will end in a big freeze, eternal expansion, or a big crunch, collapse. In the region of the Great Attractor, the big crunch is winning. Locally, gravity has defeated dark energy. This region is a laboratory for the end of the world. It shows us what a collapsing universe looks like. Galaxies rushing together, merging, heating up, and dying. While the rest of the universe might freeze in trillions of years, the civilizations, if any, inside the Great Attractor are facing a fiery, crowded death much sooner. We are watching a preview of the apocalypse, playing out on a screen made of stars, and we are slowly moving into the theater to take our seats. The investigation also turns to the local void, the immediate region of emptiness right next to our local group. This is a subcomponent of the push we feel. The local void is expanding, growing larger as gravity drains matter away from it toward the attractor. It's like an air bubble growing in a loaf of bread. As the local void expands, it pushes us faster. We are being squeezed out. The text of the cosmos is being rewritten. The empty spaces are getting emptier, and the crowded spaces are getting more crowded. This segregation of the universe separates the haves, regions with matter, from the have-nots, the voids. We are migrating from the suburbs to the city center, but this is a city where the population density is lethal. Let's return to the speed. 600 kilometers per second. That is 2.1 million kilometers per hour. In the time it has taken you to watch this video so far, we have traveled roughly 100,000 kilometers towards the attractor. It is a relentless, unceasing motion. Nothing we do can stop it. We could blow up the Earth, and the debris would still travel at that speed towards the attractor. It is a fate etched into our atoms. This feeling of helplessness is the core of cosmic horror. We are passengers on a ride we didn't choose, heading to a destination we didn't pick, driven by forces we can barely measure. The universe is not made for us. We are just contaminants in a massive fluid dynamics experiment. Is there any hope of seeing the center before we get there? The James Webb Space Telescope and future infrared surveys might finally pierce the veil of the zone of avoidance completely. We are on the verge of mapping the core of the Great Attractor with unprecedented precision. But what if we don't like what we find? Science fiction authors imagine ancient megastructures or supercivilizations, harnessing the power of the attractor. While unlikely, the density of galaxies there makes it the most probable place for Type 3 civilizations to exist. If life is a numbers game, the Great Attractor has all the dice. We might be heading towards a region that is already occupied, a galactic empire that has been thriving in the deep gravity well while we were evolving in the Styx. The cold spot anomaly mentioned earlier deserves a closer look. If it truly is a scar from a multiverse collision, it changes the context of the Great Attractor. Perhaps the flow isn't just gravity. Perhaps it's a leak. Imagine a drain in a bathtub. The water flows towards it because there is a void underneath. If our universe collided with another, it might have created a gravitational drain, a weak point in the fabric of reality where matter is slipping out. The Great Attractor might not be an object, but a hole, a puncture wound in the skin of the universe. We aren't being pulled towards a pile of rocks. We are being pulled towards the exit, and no one knows what lies on the other side of that drain. The interaction between the Milky Way and the Great Attractor also distorts our perception of time. According to general relativity, time moves slower in stronger gravitational fields. As we approach the attractor, and as we merge into higher density regions, we are entering a realm of deeper gravity. While the effect is negligible now, for an observer deep inside the core of the Shapley supercluster, time ticks slightly differently than it does in the voids. We are moving into a slow time zone relative to the empty universe. It adds a temporal dimension to the trap. We are descending into a gravity well where the universe ages differently, separated from the rapid expansion occurring in the voids. We must also consider the Great Wall structures. The Sloan Great Wall and the Boss Great Wall are massive filaments of galaxies that dwarf even the superclusters. These are the largest known structures in the universe. The Great Attractor is likely a node in a similar wall, a connection point. These walls are the scaffolding of the universe. If you could see the dark matter, the universe would look like a cellular structure, a honeycomb. We are inside one of the cells, drifting towards the wall that separates us from the next cell. The Great Attractor is the junction point where the walls meet. It is the corner of our cosmic cage. We are not just floating, we are exploring the boundaries of our containment cell. The Kashlinsky flow, another name for the dark flow, remains the most disturbing piece of evidence because it persists even when we subtract the Great Attractor and Shapley. When we account for all the known mass, the motion is still there. There is a residual velocity. This is the astronomical equivalent of hearing a footstep in an empty house. We have checked every room, every galaxy cluster. We have weighed every object, every supercluster, and the math still says something else is in the house with us. Or rather, something outside the house is pulling on the foundation. The residual velocity points to a truth we are afraid to admit. Our inventory of the universe is woefully incomplete. What defines the edge of this influence? We define the basin of attraction as the region where gravity overcomes expansion, but this basin is fluid. It changes as the universe evolves. As dark energy accelerates the expansion of the universe, the battle lines shift. Dark energy tries to tear structures apart. Gravity tries to pull them together. The Great Attractor is one of the last strongholds of gravity. It is a fortress holding out against the accelerating expansion. By moving towards it, we are effectively retreating into the fortress before the rest of the universe dissolves into isolation. In a grim way, the Great Attractor is our salvation. It is the only place that will remain connected when the rest of the universe goes dark. This creates a paradox of safety and danger. To stay in the void is to be isolated forever as the universe expands. To go to the attractor is to be crushed in a chaotic merger of billions of stars. It is a choice between freezing to death in the wilderness or burning to death in a crowded room. And the choice has already been made for us by gravity. We are heading for the fire. The universe is shepherding us into the heat. This determinism strips humanity of its agency. We can choose to go to the moon or Mars, but we cannot choose to avoid the great attractor. It is the ultimate destiny of our world, written before the Earth was even born. Let's analyze the cluster of galaxies waiting for us. The Norma cluster is rich in heavy elements, dust, and old stars. It is a red and dead environment. The galaxies there have largely stopped forming new stars because the gas has been too hot or stripped away. It is a cosmic retirement home, a place of stagnation. By contrast, the Milky Way is still vibrant, blue, and forming stars. We are bringing fresh fuel to a dying fire. When we arrive, or rather, when our descendants arrive, our gas will revitalize the region, sparking a brief, violent period of renewal before the final darkness sets in. We are the kindling for a bonfire at the end of time. The path to the attractor is not a straight line. It is a spiraling, complex trajectory influenced by the gravity of Andromeda, the Virgo cluster, and the local void. We are dancing our way to the slaughter. This complex orbit means our view of the universe will change dramatically over eons. The constellations will distort, the Milky Way band will shift, and eventually the sky will fill with the glow of the approaching supercluster. Future astronomers, if they exist, will look up at a sky that is far brighter and more terrifying than ours. They will see the face of the monster that has been pulling us for billions of years. The dipole repeller has a partner in crime. Recent studies suggest there might be a cold spot repeller as well. Multiple voids pushing from different directions. We are being juggled by nothingness. This reinforces the idea of the cosmic web as a tensegrity structure, a balance of push and pull. The voids expand, the filaments contract. We are the tension in the system. We are the string being pulled tight. If the tension becomes too great, could the structures snap? Probably not in a physical sense, but the isolation of the superclusters will eventually become absolute. Laniakea will become an island universe, cut off from the rest of creation by the expanding voids. We must address the zone of avoidance one last time. It is not just dust. It is a psychological barrier. For centuries, it reminded us of our limits. Now that we can see through it, it reminds us of our vulnerability. The sheer number of galaxies we found hiding there, thousands of them, proved that our census of the universe was wrong. We missed a huge chunk of the population. It forces us to wonder, what else is hiding? Is there a massive black hole nearby that is quiescent, invisible to our sensors? Is there a rogue planet entering our solar system from the direction of the galactic center? The zone of avoidance taught us that the most dangerous things are often hiding in plain sight, masked by the beauty of the stars. The great attractor also influences the peculiar velocity of the sun within the Milky Way. We are bobbing up and down through the galactic plane, but the whole plane is tilting. This tilt might have consequences for life on Earth. Some scientists hypothesize that as we pass through denser regions of the galaxy or are subjected to higher cosmic ray fluxes from the shockwaves of the attractor's influence, it could trigger mass extinctions. The motion of the heavens is not disconnected from the biology of the ground. We are shielded by the sun's magnetic field, but as we move into more hostile territory, that shield will be tested. The great attractor is not just pulling the galaxy, it is pulling on our DNA. The ultimate question remains, will we ever reach it? The expansion of the universe is accelerating due to dark energy. This creates a race. Gravity pulls us towards the great attractor, but space is stretching out between us. Calculations suggest that we might never actually hit the core. The space might expand faster than we can travel, leaving us stranded in the middle of the journey. We would be eternally falling towards a destination that recedes forever. This is perhaps a fate worse than collision, the fate of Tantalus, forever reaching for the fruit that withdraws. We are doomed to chase the great attractor for eternity, never arriving, never stopping, suspended in a cosmic limbo of infinite longing. But the dark flow suggests otherwise. If the source is outside the observable universe and the flow is strong enough, it might overpower dark energy locally. It implies that the structure causing the pull is of a scale that mocks the energy of the vacuum. It suggests a big rip might not happen here. Instead, we get a big gulp. The structures are too big to fail. The great attractor is just the local office of a universal corporation of gravity that owns everything. The merger is inevitable. The question is not if, but when. And when involves timescales that turn stars into cold cinders. Let's consider the great attractor as a gravitational lens. The mass is so high that it warps the light from the background universe. If we could look through it, we would see a distorted, funhouse mirror version of the cosmos behind it. This lensing effect is one of the ways we measure its mass, but it also means the attractor is a blind spot in another way. It distorts reality. We cannot trust the data coming from behind it. It is a cosmic mirage generator. It hides the deep universe by bending the light away from our eyes. It is a cloak of invisibility worn by the largest structure in our local reality. The Shapley supercluster is a beast of a different nature. It is not just a blob. It is a highly structured node. It contains the Abell 3,558 inches cluster at its core, a super-dense region that acts as the anchor. This anchor is so heavy that it stabilizes the entire Laniakea superstructure. Without Shapley, our local universe would fly apart. It is the keystone of our reality. We fear it, but we depend on it. It provides the gravitational glue that keeps our corner of the universe from dissolving into the void. It is a benevolent tyrant, holding us together with an iron grip that will eventually crush us. The sound of this motion, if space had air, would be a low, resonant hum, the frequency of 1 billion stars moving in unison. It is a vibration of space-time itself. Gravitational waves, ripples in the fabric of reality, are constantly emanating from the collisions within the attractor. We are sailing into a storm of gravitational waves. Our detectors, like LIGO, pick up the chirps of black holes merging. As we get closer to the attractor, the background noise of these mergers will increase. The universe will get louder. We are approaching the cacophony of the cosmic city center. There is a theory that the Great Attractor is a strange attractor in the mathematical sense, a focal point of a chaotic system. The universe is a dynamical system, and we are caught in one of its loops. This implies that the motion is not just simple attraction, but part of a complex cycle of cosmic evolution. Perhaps matter flows in, is processed, and is ejected in some other form, possibly as energy or through active galactic nuclei, quasars. The Great Attractor might be a recycling plant. We are the raw material, waiting to be processed into the next generation of the universe's structure. The sheer visual isolation of this event is what makes it personal. When you look at the night sky, you see static stars. You don't feel the speed. You don't feel the 600 kilometers per second. It is a hidden velocity. This disconnect between our senses and our reality is the matrix element of astrophysics. We are living in a simulation of stillness while physically undergoing a violent relocation. The script of our lives is written on a stage that is falling through the floor, but the stage lights are so bright we can't see the drop. The dipole repeller again. Consider the void. Voids are the dominant feature of the universe. Most of the universe is empty. We live in the rare exception, the filament. Being pushed by the void is a reminder of how fragile existence is. The nothing is stronger than the something in terms of volume. The nothing is expanding. The something is huddling together for warmth. The Great Attractor is one of the last campfires in a universe that is rapidly cooling down. We are running to the fire because the dark is growing. The collaboration of thousands of scientists was required to uncover this. It wasn't one genius. It was generations of astronomers struggling with data that didn't make sense. The Great Attractor is a monument to human curiosity. We refused to accept that the universe was just there. We noticed the drift, the slight error in the calculations, and we tugged on that thread until the whole tapestry unraveled. It is a triumph of the investigative spirit. We found the monster in the dark by measuring the trembling of the floorboards. But knowing about the Great Attractor doesn't save us. It is a diagnosis without a cure. There is no technology, theoretical or imagined, that can reverse the motion of an entire galaxy. We are strapped to the engine of the Milky Way. Where it goes, we go. This realization forces a humility upon us. We are not masters of nature. We are hitchhikers. The Earth is not a spaceship we steer. It is a leaf caught in a hurricane. The Great Attractor is the eye of that hurricane, and we are slowly rotating towards the wall. As we conclude this phase of the investigation, we are left with a picture of the universe that is dynamic, violent, and interconnected. The standard model of a uniform, expanding universe is a simplification. The reality is a messy, lumpy, flowing river of matter driven by monsters like the Great Attractor and the dipole repeller. We are not lost in space, we are being directed. The scary part isn't that we are moving, It's that we are being moved with such purpose. The universe has a plan for us, and that plan involves a collision course with the largest object in the local cosmos. To truly grasp the magnitude of the trap we are caught in, we must look deeper into the architecture of the local void. This isn't just an empty room next door. It is a dynamic, growing chasm that is actively participating in our eviction. The local void is a region of space at least 150 million light-years across, utterly devoid of galaxies. In the context of the universe, empty doesn't mean static. Because there is no matter inside the void to slow down the expansion of space through gravity, the void expands faster than the regions around it. It puffs out like a balloon, exerting a pressure on everything at its borders. We sit right on the edge of this expanding nothingness. The calculations show that approximately 50% of our velocity towards the great attractor is actually caused by the push from the local void. We are being shoved from behind by a ghost, an expansive force of nothingness that will not tolerate our presence. It is a cosmic expulsion, driving the local sheet of galaxies out into the stream that leads to the attractor. This push and pull dynamic creates what cosmologists call a, quote, gravitational watershed. Think of a continental divide on Earth. Rain that falls on one side flows to the Pacific. Rain on the other flows to the Atlantic. In space, these divides are invisible lines drawn in the fabric of gravity. We call our watershed Laniakea. The boundary of Laniakea is the point of no return. Any galaxy inside this boundary is destined to flow towards the great attractor. Any galaxy outside of it will flow towards a different supercluster, perhaps the Perseus-Pisces chain. We have mapped this boundary, and it is terrifyingly vast. Laniakea spans 520 million light-years. It is a basin of attraction that encompasses 100,000 galaxies and 1 billion suns. We are not just drifting in space. We are trapped inside a specific organ of the universe, circulating through its veins towards the heart. The boundary defines our reality. Everything outside of Laniakea is effectively a different universe, forever drifting away from us as the cosmos expands. The structure of Laniakea itself resembles a giant, glowing feather or a fern, with strands of galaxies branching off from a central spine. The Milky Way lies on the outskirts of one of these tendrils, far from the dense action at the center. This position is what has allowed life to evolve. The core of Laniakea, where the great attractor and the Shapley supercluster reside, is a chaotic environment incompatible with stability. If we were located there, the night sky would be blindingly bright, filled with the radiation of nearby active galactic nuclei and the debris of constant collisions. Our location in the suburbs has bought us time, billions of years of relative quiet, to wonder about the monsters downtown. But the suburb is slowly sliding into the city. The flow of gravity ensures that this isolation is temporary. We are on a slow boat to the center of the action, and the quiet era of humanity is merely a pause before the final act of the play. Surrounding our home supercluster are other titans, the Great Walls. The Sloan Great Wall and the Hercules Corona Borealis Great Wall are structures so massive they challenge our understanding of physics. The Great Attractor connects us to this lattice. It is not an island, it is a node. Imagine the universe as a sponge. The solid parts of the sponge are the filaments and walls. The holes are the voids. We are sliding along a strand of the sponge material. The Great Attractor is a knot where multiple strands meet. This connectivity is crucial because it implies that the pull we feel might be a cumulative effect of the entire cosmic web vibrating. The tension in the strands is dragging us. We are being pulled by the structural integrity of the universe itself. If the web were to snap, we would be flung into the void, but as long as gravity holds, we are bound to the knot. Visualizing this flow requires a shift in perspective. If you could strip away the stars and see only the velocity vectors, the arrows of motion, the local universe would look like a rushing river. Astronomers call these streamlines. In our map of the cosmos, the streamlines all converge on the Great Attractor, twist around it, and then plunge deeper toward Shapley. It is a hydrodynamic model of gravity. We are effectively fluid dynamics researchers, but the fluid is made of galaxies. The scary part of a river analogy is the waterfall. Is there a point where the flow becomes turbulent, chaotic, and destructive? The region around the Great Attractor is exactly that, a region of high turbulence where the laminar flow of the universe breaks down into a chaotic mess of merging dark matter halos. We are smooth sailing now, but the white water is ahead. The roar of that turbulence is the radio noise we pick up from the Norma cluster. Before we ever reach the Great Attractor, however, we have a more immediate appointment with destruction. The Milky Way is on a collision course with the Andromeda Galaxy. This event, predicted to happen in about 4.5 billion years, is a direct result of the local gravity that is part of the larger flow. Andromeda is falling towards us, and we are falling towards it while both of us fall towards the attractor. It is a dance within a dance. The merger will create a new, elliptical galaxy often nicknamed Milkomeda. This new galaxy will then continue the journey. We are not going to meet the Great Attractor as the Milky Way. We will meet it as a scarred, merged survivor of a local war. The human race, if it exists then, will look up at a sky that has been completely rearranged, with a double core of bright stars and a night that never truly gets dark. The dynamics of the Milky Way-Andromeda merger serve as a microcosm for what happens in the Great Attractor. When galaxies collide, they pass through each other like ghosts. The stars are too far apart to hit, but the gas clouds, the nebulae, the stellar nurseries, they slam into each other with the force of 1 trillion nuclear bombs. This compression triggers a starburst, a period of frantic star formation. The galaxy lights up like a firework. Then, the gas is used up. The party ends. The galaxy dies. This is the fate awaiting us. The Great Attractor is a graveyard of these starburst events. It is a region where galaxies have already had their final party and are now settling into a long, cold retirement. By heading there, we are heading towards the end of our reproductive cycle as a galaxy. We are going to a place where stars stop being born. Deep in the heart of this future merger lies the fate of the supermassive black holes. The Milky Way has Sagittarius A, a 4 million solar mass monster. Andromeda has a black hole that is nearly 100 million solar masses. When our galaxies merge, these two monsters will spiral inward, eventually merging into a single, titanic object. The gravitational waves from this event will ripple through the entire Laniakea supercluster, announcing our unification to the Great Attractor. But even this combined monster is a dwarf compared to what waits in the attractor. The central galaxies of the Norma and Shapley clusters host black holes that are billions of times the mass of the Sun ultramassive black holes. These are the true kings of the attractor. We are bringing our local god to be sacrificed to a much older, hungrier deity. The immense gravity of the Great Attractor also acts as a vacuum cleaner for intergalactic dust. One of the reasons it is so hard to see is that it has pulled a shroud around itself. The zone of avoidance is not just a coincidence of our viewing angle. The region itself is dense with particulate matter. This dust absorbs visible light and re-radiates it as infrared heat. The attractor is glowing in the dark, a warm ember in the cold universe. This heat is the friction of the cosmos. As matter falls in, it rubs against other matter, heating up. The entire region is a thermodynamic anomaly, a hotspot in a universe that is generally trending towards absolute zero. We are flying like moths towards a heat lamp, unaware that the warmth implies a lethal density. Timescales are critical here. The universe is 13.8 billion years old. The journey to the Great Attractor, at our current speed, would take billions more. We are essentially viewing a prophecy that cannot be fulfilled within the current lifespan of the Sun. Our star will swell into a red giant and consume the Earth long before the Milky Way reaches the core of the attractor. This turns the Great Attractor into a post-human problem. It is an existential threat to our galaxy, not our planet. But for any civilization that manages to escape the death of the Sun, the attractor becomes the ultimate horizon. If humanity becomes a spacefaring species, spanning the stars, the drift towards the attractor will be the background radiation of our entire history, a slow, inevitable migration towards the center of the web. Let's discuss ram pressure stripping in more detail, because it is the specific mechanism of death for galaxies entering a cluster. As a galaxy falls into the Great Attractor, it moves through the intracluster medium superheated plasma. The galaxy is like a person running through a strong wind. The wind, the plasma, blows the loose clothing, the gas clouds, off the runner. But the gas clouds are what the galaxy uses to make new stars. Without gas, the galaxy becomes sterile. It can no longer produce new suns to replace the dying ones. This process turns a vibrant blue spiral galaxy into a red and dead elliptical galaxy. We observe this happening right now in the Norma cluster. We see jellyfish galaxies with long tentacles of stripped gas trailing behind them as they fall in. They are bleeding their lifeblood into the void. This is the anatomical dissection of a galaxy by gravity. The jellyfish galaxies are the victims of the Great Attractor. The tentacles of gas they leave behind can be tens of thousands of light years long. These trails sometimes form stars of their own, creating fireballs in the wake of the dying galaxy. It is a violent, beautiful death. The Milky Way still has its gas. We are still clothed. But as we accelerate towards the region of higher density, we will eventually hit this wall of wind. The Great Attractor will strip us bare. It is a cosmic purification process, removing the chaotic elements of star formation and leaving behind only the old, stable stars. The ultimate goal of the attractor seems to be entropy, to homogenize the universe, to stop the chaotic birth of stars and settle everything into a low-energy, high-entropy state. The sheer amount of X-ray radiation emitted by the Great Attractor is another hazard. This radiation comes from the intracluster medium, gas heated to millions of degrees. If you had X-ray eyes, the Great Attractor wouldn't be hidden. It would be the brightest thing in the sky, a glowing, diffuse fog of lethal energy. This environment is hostile to biology as we know it. The cosmic rays and high-energy photons would scour the atmospheres of planets. It suggests that the habitable zone of the universe is not just about being the right distance from a star, but being the right distance from a supercluster. We are currently in the galactic habitable zone, but we are drifting towards the galactic dead zone. The safe harbor is shrinking. Dark matter is the invisible scaffold that makes this all possible. The Great Attractor is, first and foremost, a dark matter object. The visible galaxies are just the icing on the cake. The cake itself is a mountain of exotic particles that do not interact with light. When we look at the flow of galaxies, we are tracing the shape of this dark matter. The bullet cluster collision gave us proof that dark matter exists. It showed the gas stopping while the mass continued. In the Great Attractor, billions of years of such collisions have created a tangled knot of dark matter. It is a trap made of shadow. We are falling into a well that was dug by a substance we haven't even identified yet. We are physics experiments dropping into a dark matter detector the size of a universe. The concept of velocity dispersion tells us how chaotic the core of the attractor is. In a calm region, galaxies move together. In the attractor, they buzz around like bees in a hive. The relative speeds between galaxies in the Norma cluster are thousands of kilometers per second. This high speed prevents them from merging gently. Instead, they harass each other, stripping material and distorting shapes. It is a mosh pit of galaxies. If the Milky Way were to enter this region today, the gravitational perturbations would disrupt the orbits of stars, potentially ejecting solar systems into the cold void. The stability of our own solar system depends on the isolation of our galaxy. Once we enter the hive, all bets are off. Planetary orbits are fragile things in the face of supercluster dynamics. We must also consider the particle horizon, the absolute limit of what we can see. The universe is expanding, and light travels at a finite speed. There is a horizon beyond which events are unobservable. The dark flow implies that the structure pulling us might be effectively outside our horizon. It might be a structure that was in causal contact with us during the Big Bang, but has since been pushed out of view by inflation. We are tethered to a ghost from the beginning of time. This pre-inflationary remnant would be a topological defect in the universe, a scar from the moment of creation that never healed. We are being pulled towards the memory of the Big Bang's chaotic birth. It connects the very large superclusters with the very small quantum fluctuations in the early universe. The zone of avoidance has recently been penetrated by the Parkes radio telescope and other surveys, revealing the Vela supercluster hidden deeper in the dust. This discovery was a shock. It showed that the Great Attractor was not the peak of the mountain, but merely a foothill. Vela is even larger, even more massive, and it aligns with the flow. This creates a, quote, conveyor belt model of the local universe. We flow to the Great Attractor, which flows to Vela, which flows to Shapley. The scale keeps increasing. It makes you feel incredibly small. The Earth orbits the Sun. The Sun orbits the galaxy falls to the attractor. the attractor falls to Shapley. We are nesting dolls of gravity, and every layer we peel back reveals a larger, scarier doll waiting to swallow the previous one. This conveyor belt leads to the concept of the end of greatness. In cosmology, it is assumed that if you zoom out far enough, the universe becomes smooth and uniform. But the discovery of these massive flow structures challenges that. We haven't found the scale where things become smooth yet. We keep finding larger and larger structures. The Great Wall, the Laniakea supercluster, the dark flow. It suggests the universe might be fractal, lumpy all the way up. If the universe is not uniform, then our standard model of cosmology, which assumes uniformity, might be fundamentally flawed. The Great Attractor is the anomaly that threatens to break the lambda CDM model of the universe. It is the loose thread that could unravel the whole sweater. Let's re-examine the dipole repeller in the context of the local sheet. We live in a flat arrangement of galaxies called the local sheet. This sheet is sandwiched between the local void and other voids. We are effectively being compressed into a pancake. The motion towards the attractor is lateral, along the sheet, but the voids are squeezing us from above and below. This compression concentrates matter. We are being herded. The geometry of the voids dictates the geometry of life. If the voids were different, the local sheet might not exist, and the density of galaxies would be too low for heavy elements to spread effectively. We owe our existence to this specific, claustrophobic arrangement of nothingness pushing us together. What would the night sky look like from a planet inside the core of the Great Attractor? It would be dazzling. Instead of a few thousand stars, the sky would be ablaze with the glow of 1,000,000 nearby galaxies. The concept of night might not exist. The radiation background would be intense. But it would also be a sky of terror. Supernova would go off constantly, sterilizing planets with gamma-ray bursts. Life in the core would need to be hardy, perhaps subterranean, hiding from the lethal glory of the cluster. We are lucky to live in the dark. Our lonely, empty sky is a shield. The boring part of the universe is the only safe part. The Seven Samurai, the team that discovered the Great Attractor, faced immense skepticism. The scientific community didn't want to believe in a lopsided universe. They wanted symmetry. The discovery of the attractor forced us to accept that the universe is messy. It has scars, lumps, and drains. This psychological shift is important. We moved from a perfect, clockwork universe to a biological, evolving, chaotic one. The Great Attractor is the messy reality that ruins the elegant theory. It is the mud on the shoes of the physicist. It proves that to understand the universe, you can't just do math on a chalkboard. You have to go out and look at the dirt, the dust, and the anomalies. Is there a great repeller to match the Great Attractor? We found the dipole repeller, but is there something even bigger pushing us? The cold spot repeller theory suggests yes. The voids might be just as structured as the clusters. A hierarchy of nothingness pushing against a hierarchy of somethingness. This dualism is striking. It's a war between form and void. Currently, gravity allows form to win locally, creating clusters and stars. But in the long run, dark energy ensures the void wins globally. The Great Attractor is the last stand of form. It is the fortress where matter gathers to die together before the eternal expansion separates everything forever. The role of dark energy in this specific region is a tug-of-war. Dark energy pushes space apart, gravity pulls it together. Inside the Laniakea supercluster, gravity is currently winning. The density is high enough to overcome the expansion. We are a boat structure, but at the edges, the battle is fierce. Some galaxies on the fringe of Laniakea are being torn away by the expansion, lost to the void. We are safe for now, deep inside the gravity well. But billions of years from now, as dark energy strengthens or the universe expands further, even superclusters might crack. The Great Attractor might eventually be torn apart by the very space it occupies. Nothing is permanent, not even the monsters. The Perseus-Pisces supercluster lies on the opposite side of the sky, another massive wall of galaxies. We are essentially in a valley between two mountain ranges. Perseus-Pisces on one side, the Great Attractor/Shapley on the other. We are flowing down the valley floor. This topography is mapped using redshift surveys. By measuring how much the light from galaxies is stretched, we can build a 3D map. This map reveals that we are not just a random point. We are part of a filamentary bridge connecting these two giants. We are the mortar between the bricks of the universe. The strain on this bridge is immense. We are being stretched and pulled, a cosmic tug-of-war rope that happens to contain intelligent life. If we assume the dark flow is real and points to a multiverse interaction, it leads to the bubble universe theory. Our universe is a bubble in an eternal sea of inflation. When bubbles touch, they can impart momentum. The great attractor's pull might be the bruise from where our bubble bumped into another one. This is cosmic bruising. It means the pull isn't internal, it's external. We are feeling the gravity of a neighbor universe. This is speculative, but the data allows for it. It would explain the inexplicable velocity. We are moving because the floor of reality is tilted towards a neighbor we can't see. The basin of attraction concept has a terrifying implication: isolation. Once a galaxy falls into the basin, it can never leave. The escape velocity is higher than the speed of light. We have crossed the event horizon of the Laniakea supercluster. We are gravitationally bound to this fate. There is no turning back. Even if we developed warp drive, the entire region of space is flowing. You can't swim upstream against the Hubble flow and the peculiar velocity combined. We are citizens of Laniakea forever. The map of the universe is closing in. We have defined our prison cell, and it is 500 million light-years wide. Let's focus on the Norma cluster again, the visible face of the attractor. It is a cluster like no other. It is dense, chaotic, and obscured. The fact that it is hidden behind the Milky Way's disk is one of the greatest coincidences in astronomy. If Earth were positioned slightly differently in the galaxy above the plane, we would have seen it clearly with the naked eye. A massive smudge of light, a second Milky Way calling to us. But we are in the plane, blocked by dust. This blindness shaped our mythology. We thought the heavens were eternal and static because we couldn't see the churn. The dust saved us from the existential dread of seeing the drain. The Great Attractor has a mass of about 10 quadrillion suns. That is a 1 followed by 16 zeros. The human mind cannot comprehend this number. To visualize it, if the sun were a grain of sand, the Great Attractor would be a mountain range. The gravitational reach of this mass extends across the universe, bending light, distorting time, and commanding the motion of millions of galaxies. It is a gravitational dictator. It rules the local universe with an iron fist. Resistance is futile. Every atom in your body is subject to its decree. You are falling towards it right now, along with the chair you sit on and the screen you watch. The Cosmic Microwave Background, CMB, gives us a reference frame. It is the rest frame of the universe. When we measure our speed, we measure it against the CMB. The fact that we are moving so fast relative to this background is what initially raised the alarm. We are violating the stillness of the background. We are a hot spot of motion in a cold universe. This dipole anisotropy in the CMB is the speedometer of our doom. It turns the sky into a Doppler-shifted map, red in one direction, where we came from, and blue in the other, where we are going. We are blue shifting into the future. What about the Fermi paradox? Where is everyone? Maybe the answer lies in the Great Attractor. If the center of the supercluster is the city, and we are in the rural outskirts, maybe the advanced civilizations are all clustered there, harnessing the immense energy of the black holes and the density of stars. The Galactic Club might be real, but it's held in the Great Attractor, and we are too far away to pick up the signal. Or, conversely, maybe the attractor is a graveyard where civilizations are destroyed by gamma-ray bursts, and we are safe only because we are isolated. Is the attractor a haven or a hell? The velocity vector of the Milky Way is not constant. As we fall, we accelerate. We are gaining speed. The closer we get, the faster we go. This acceleration adds energy to the collision. When we finally merge with the structures ahead, it will be a high-energy event. We are not gently docking, we are crashing. The kinetic energy of the Milky Way galaxy is being converted into heat. We are a bullet fired at a wall. The heat death of the universe is usually described as a cooling down, but locally, for us, it will be a heating up. A violent, feverish end. Laniakea is just one supercluster. There are others. Perseus Pisces, Coma, Shapley. The universe is a foam of these bubbles. But do they interact? Yes, the cosmic web connects them all. The filaments are the bridges. We believe there might be a flow between superclusters. A flow of flows. This hierarchical structure might go on forever. If so, there is no largest structure. There is always a bigger fish. The great attractor falls into Shapley, Shapley falls into something else. Is there a center to the universe? The Big Bang says no, but the gravity flows say maybe. There might be a great center of attraction that anchors the entire web. The voids are growing. The local void, the Boots void. These empty spaces are the engines of the future. As they expand, they push the filaments thinner and thinner. Eventually, the filaments might snap. The great attractor would then become an isolated island in an infinite sea of black. The galaxies that didn't make it in time will be stranded in the dark, frozen and alone. We are in the lifeboat that is making it to the island just in time. The rush to the attractor is a rush to safety before the bridges burn down. This creates a feeling of cosmic claustrophobia. We are trapped in a flow, bounded by walls, pushed by voids, heading to a crush. The infinite space of the universe is actually quite restrictive. We have a path, a lane, and we cannot change lanes. The freedom of space travel is an illusion. We are on rails. The rails are made of space-time curvature. The great attractor is the terminus station. All passengers must exit there. The Shapley supercluster is so massive that it pulls on the Milky Way from 650 million light-years away. Gravity is the weakest force, yet it has the longest reach. It never reaches zero. You are currently being pulled by the Shapley supercluster. It is a tiny, imperceptible tug on your atoms, but it is there. You are connected to it. If the Shapley supercluster vanished this instant, you wouldn't know for 650 million years, but the universe would know. The web of gravity is instant in its structural integrity, even if the information travels at light speed. We are tangled in a web that spans the cosmos. The dipole repeller was only discovered in 2017. It is a new piece of the puzzle. It shows how much we still don't know. We spent decades looking for the puller and ignored the pusher. What else are we missing? Is there a great repeller masking itself as dark energy? The landscape of cosmology is shifting. We are realizing that nothing, voids, is a force to be reckoned with. The emptiness is aggressive. It is weaponized space. The zone of avoidance covers the constellations of Sagittarius, Scorpius, and Centaurus. These are the directions of the mystery. When you look at the center of the Milky Way in the summer sky, you are looking towards the attractor. The beauty of the Milky Way band is the very curtain that hides the horror. It is poetic. The thing we admire most is the thing that blinds us. We stare at the wall and ignore the army marching behind it. Dark flow measurements have been contested. The Planck satellite data disagreed with some of the earlier WMAP data. There is a scientific war over whether this flow is real. This uncertainty adds to the mystery. Is it a statistical fluke or a glimpse of a multiverse? If it's a fluke, the universe is safe and boring. If it's real, the universe is part of something much, much larger and stranger. The investigative journalist in us wants it to be real. The anomaly is always more interesting than the standard model. The Great Attractor sounds like a name from a 1950 sci-fi movie, but the reality is more Lovecraftian. It is vast, indifferent, and invisible. It does not care about us. It simply is. The horror comes from the scale. It is a machine that processes galaxies. We are raw material. The universe is industrial. We are on the conveyor belt. The meaning of life seems small when compared to the gigatons of mass being crunched in the Norma cluster. We have mapped the motions of 8,000 galaxies to find this flow. This map is called cosmicography. We are the cartographers of the void. But unlike Earth maps, this terrain moves. The mountains, clusters, and valleys, voids, are shifting. Mapping the universe is like mapping the ocean during a hurricane. The fact that we have a map at all is a miracle of human intelligence. We have figured out the currents while drowning in them. The local void is growing larger. As it pushes us, it also isolates us from the galaxies on the other side. The sky is breaking into pieces. In the far future, an observer in the Milky Way won't be able to see the galaxies on the other side of the local void. they will have receded beyond the horizon. The universe is being chopped up into isolated chunks. The flow to the attractor is the only connection left. We are being funneled into the last remaining tunnel. Is there a center to the great attractor? A single point? Probably not. It is likely a dense cluster of clusters, a supercluster core. But the Abel 3627 inches cluster, the Norma cluster, is the closest thing to a center we have found. It is the downtown district. It is massive, bright, and heavy. If you want to point your finger at the bad guy, point it at Abel 3627. That is the face of the great attractor. The great attractor challenges the cosmological principle of homogeneity. If we are in a special flow, maybe the laws of physics vary too. What if the speed of light is different in the attractor? What if gravity is stronger? We assume the laws are universal, but we haven't been there to check. We are extrapolating from the suburbs to the city. The physics of the extreme density might hold surprises we aren't ready for. The motion is peculiar. That word keeps coming up. Peculiar, strange, odd. It denotes a deviation from the norm. The entire existence of the great attractor is a deviation. The universe should be expanding smoothly. It isn't. Something broke the symmetry. Something grabbed a chunk of the universe and squeezed. That squeeze created the Laniakea supercluster. We are the result of a cosmic accident, a crumple in the sheet of spacetime. The Kashlinsky flow leads to the dark flow. Kashlinsky, the scientist, stands by his data. He claims the flow extends to 3 billion light-years. That captures a significant fraction of the observable universe. If the whole observable universe is flowing, then the attractor must be outside of it. It implies the observable universe is just a small window in a much larger room, and something in the room is pulling the rug. X-ray astronomy is the hero here. Without X-rays, the zone of avoidance would be a brick wall. X-rays pass through the gas. They revealed the skeleton of the attractor. It glows in the high-energy spectrum. It is radioactive. The great attractor is a nuclear nightmare. It is screaming in X-rays, but we are deaf to that frequency without our machines. We built machines to hear the scream of the universe. The local group, us, Andromeda, Triangulum, is a tightly knit family. We will merge together first. We will become a single giant elliptical galaxy. Then, this giant will fall into the Virgo cluster. Then, the Virgo cluster will fall into the great attractor. It is a hierarchy of mergers. We are the small fish eaten by the medium fish, eaten by the shark. The food chain of gravity is absolute. There is no escape from being eaten. The great attractor is a gravitational anomaly, but it is also a time machine, because looking at it means looking back in time. We see it as it was millions of years ago. We don't know what it looks like now. It might have already merged with Shapley. It might have collapsed into a black hole. We are chasing a ghost image. The reality might be even more condensed and terrifying than the image we see in our telescopes. The psychological weight of this knowledge is heavy. We are not static observers. We are participants in a massive, violent event. The Earth is a vessel. We are the crew. But the vessel is on autopilot, and the destination is a black hole city. It makes our daily struggles seem insignificant. Why worry about a traffic jam when the entire galaxy is in a traffic jam headed for a cliff? As we move past the halfway point of our investigation, the picture is clear. Laniakea is our home, but it is a home that is sliding into the ocean. The great attractor is the drain. The dipole repeller is the slope. We are sliding. The science is solid. The implications are terrifying. But we must look even closer. We must understand the ultimate fate of the matter that falls in. What happens at the bottom of the drain? To understand the bottom of the drain, we have to talk about entropy. In thermodynamics, entropy is the measure of disorder. The universe tends towards disorder. The great attractor is an entropy machine. It takes organized systems, spiral galaxies with neat arms and distinct stars, and mashes them into a chaotic, high-entropy soup. The elliptical galaxies found in the core are the final state of galactic evolution. They are thermalized systems. The stars buzz around randomly like gas molecules in a box. There is no structure, no beauty, just a swarm. By pulling us in, the great attractor is accelerating the heat death of our local universe. It is processing the order of the Milky Way into the disorder of the cluster. We are fuel for the second law of thermodynamics, being burned to increase the total chaos of the cosmos. But there is a counterforce: dark energy. While gravity pulls us together, dark energy pushes space apart. The great attractor is fighting a losing war. Eventually, the expansion of the universe will become so fast that even the attractor's gravity won't be able to hold distant galaxies. The horizon will shrink. The galaxies currently falling in will be ripped away by the expansion. The great attractor will be starved. It will consume everything currently in its basin, including us, but it will never get the rest of the universe. It will become a lonely island of fossilized galaxies, floating in an infinite, dark void. We are racing to join the island before the bridge collapses. If we miss the bus, we drift alone in the dark forever. Being eaten is actually the social option. Let's zoom into the Centaurus cluster, another heavy hitter in the region. It is often confused with the great attractor, but it is actually a separate component of the flow. The Centaurus cluster is like a massive suburb of the great attractor city. It is dense, rich in X-rays, and full of elliptical galaxies. The Milky Way is currently being pulled towards the Virgo cluster, which is being pulled towards Centaurus, which is being pulled towards the great attractor, which is being pulled towards Shapley. It is a cascading waterfall of gravity. We are tumbling down the rapids. Each stage of the fall brings us into a denser, hotter, more dangerous environment. We are currently in the calm pool at the top of the waterfall, looking down at the foam. The dipole repeller creates a distinct void wind. Because the void expands, it pushes particles away. This wind is tenuous, made of intergalactic hydrogen, but over billions of years, it acts like a leaf blower. It clears the space behind us. This clearing action enhances the contrast between the void and the cluster. It sharpens the boundaries of the cosmic web. We are being defined by this wind. It scours the space around our galaxy, leaving us exposed. The universe is becoming more segregated. The empty gets emptier. The full gets fuller. We are being sorted into the full bin. The segregation of the universe is the ultimate apartheid of gravity. What happens to the black holes in this scenario? We know every galaxy has one. In the core of the great attractor, these black holes merge. But what if they don't just merge? What if they are ejected? Gravitational slingshot interactions can kick a supermassive black hole right out of its host galaxy. These rogue black holes would wander the cluster, invisible monsters in the dark. The great attractor region must be swarming with these rogue singularities, silent, invisible, wandering mouths. If one passed near a solar system, it would swallow it whole without warning. The density of the cluster makes this scenario statistically probable. It is a minefield of event horizons. The zone of avoidance also hides starburst galaxies. These are galaxies that are currently colliding and forming stars at a frantic rate. They are hidden factories of light. Infrared telescopes have revealed them. They are the beacons of the crash. The fact that we couldn't see them for so long is a testament to the thickness of the dust. We were living next to a construction site and didn't know it because the curtains were drawn. Now that we see the construction, we realize they are building a tomb. A massive collective tomb for the galaxies of Laniakea. The Vela supercluster discovery in 2016 changed the game. It is a wall of galaxies behind the attractor. It spans 870 million light-years. It is even bigger than Shapley. It suggests that Laniakea might just be a tributary to the Vela structure. The great attractor might just be the great connector to Vela. We are small fish indeed. The scales keep going up. Is there a structure bigger than Vela? Probably. The cosmic web is infinite in its complexity. We are just ants crawling on one specific leaf of a forest we cannot see. The horizon of our ignorance recedes as fast as the horizon of the universe. The concept of peculiar velocity allows us to map the mass distribution of the universe without seeing the mass. It is like mapping the ocean floor by looking at the surface currents. If the water flows a certain way, there must be a trench or a ridge. We use the galaxies as buoys. Their motion reveals the invisible terrain. This method, peculiar velocity cosmology, has revealed that the universe is far heavier than it looks. There is mass everywhere that we can't account for. The great attractor is just the biggest pile of this missing mass. It is the dark capital of our sector. Laniakea means immense heaven, but a better name might be immense trap. The boundary of Laniakea is defined by the divergence of flows. If you are on one side, you fall in. If you are on the other, you fall away. We are well inside the boundary. We are committed. There is no escaping Laniakea. We are citizens of this supercluster until the stars burn out. The loyalty of gravity is absolute. We belong to this patch of space. It owns us. The Great Attractor is the governor of this territory, and it is calling all citizens to the capital for a final census. The cold spot in the CMB is a chilling reminder of the unknown. It is 70 microkelvin colder than the average. That sounds small, but in cosmology, it's a canyon. It represents a massive void, the Eridanus supervoid. This void might be pushing us to 1 billion light-years of nothingness. If the multiverse theory is true, and it is a bruise, then the Great Attractor is the result of the universe trying to heal the wound, rushing matter to the site of the impact. We are the white blood cells rushing to a cosmic injury. We are scar tissue in the making. The Shapley supercluster was discovered in the 1930s by Harlow Shapley, but its significance wasn't realized until the Great Attractor mystery unfolded. Shapley is a monster. It contains more than 20 clusters of galaxies. It is the dense knot that anchors the web. It is the spider. The Great Attractor is just a fly caught in Shapley's web, and we are a gnat caught on the fly. The hierarchy of predation is clear. Shapley is eating the attractor, which is eating us. It is a cosmic turducken of gravity. The dipole repeller pushes us at roughly the same speed the attractor pulls. It's a 50-50 split. We are running away from the void as much as we are running towards the cluster. This fear of the void is primal. The universe abhors a vacuum. Matter flees from emptiness. We are refugees from the nothing. The Great Attractor is the refugee camp. It's crowded, chaotic, and dangerous, but it's better than the empty cold of the void. We are choosing the lesser of two evils, crushing density over absolute isolation. The zone of avoidance is slowly being conquered by radio astronomy. The Parkes Multi-Beam Pulsar Survey found hundreds of new galaxies. We are filling in the blank spots on the map. Every new galaxy found adds mass to the model, refining the pull. The more we look, the heavier the region gets. We haven't found a stop sign yet. The mass just keeps piling up. The universe is heavier than we thought, and that weight is dragging us down. The Great Wall structures are the largest things in the universe. They are filaments of galaxies hundreds of millions of light-years long. The Great Attractor sits at the intersection of two walls, the Centaurus wall and the Norma wall. It is the corner of the room. We are sliding along the Centaurus wall towards the corner. Walls are the support beams of the universe. We are sliding down the beam. If the universe has architecture, the Great Attractor is a load-bearing pillar. Dark flow implies a tilt. Imagine a table that is not level. If you put marbles on it, they roll to one side. The universe appears to be tilted. The marbles, galaxies, are rolling towards the Centaurus/Hydra region. What is under the table leg, propping it up? Or what is weighing down the other side? We don't know. The tilt is a violation of the Copernican principle. It means the universe has an up and down, and we are falling down. The local sheet we live in is moving at 600 kilometers per second. But relative to what? Relative to the CMB. This is an absolute speed. In a relativistic universe where everything is relative, the CMB provides a universal frame of reference. We are speeding in the eyes of the cosmos. We are breaking the speed limit of stillness. This absolute motion has consequences. It creates a dipole in the temperature of the sky. We are literally heating up the sky in front of us by running into the photons. The future visibility of the universe is bleak. As dark energy pushes distant galaxies away, they will disappear from our view. They will cross the cosmic horizon. We will be left with only the local group and the structures we are bound to. Laniakea. The Great Attractor will be the only thing left to look at in the distant future. It will be the entire universe for our descendants. The rest of the cosmos will have faded into black. We are merging with our eternal prison mates. Gravitational lensing allows us to weigh the attractor. The way it bends light from background galaxies tells us the mass. The distortion is severe. The great attractor is a funhouse mirror. It warps the image of the universe behind it. This warping is the signature of the monster. Gravity is the lens, and the attractor is the thickest glass in the store. We are looking through a bottle bottom at the rest of creation. The Virgo cluster is our landlord. We are gravitationally bound to it. But the Virgo cluster is evicting us, sending us down the river to the great attractor. We are part of the Virgo infall. But Virgo itself is falling. It is a cascade, the hierarchy of falls. Moon falls to Earth, Earth to Sun, Sun to Center, Center to Virgo, Virgo to attractor, attractor to Shapley. It never ends. It is turtles all the way down, but the turtles are gravity wells. The great attractor was a mystery for 40 years. It started in the 70s. It was solved mostly in the 90s and 2000s. But the dark flow keeps it alive. The mystery mutated. It went from what is pulling us to what is pulling the thing that is pulling us. The question just got pushed back one layer. We pulled the mask off the villain only to find another mask underneath. The universe loves layers. The dipole repeller acts like a white hole in terms of flow, though not physics. Matter flows out of it. It is a fountain of emptiness. The symmetry is beautiful. A sink, attractor, and a source, repeller. A battery with a positive and negative terminal. The current flows between them. We are the electrons in this cosmic circuit. We power the flow. The voltage is gravity. The zone of avoidance is 20% of the sky. That is a huge blind spot. Imagine driving a car with 20% of the windshield painted black. That is astronomy. We have been driving blind for centuries. Now we have radar, radio waves, and can see through the paint, and we see a semi-truck heading right for us. The great attractor is that truck. The blind spot was hiding the collision. The Shapley supercluster is the largest concentration of galaxies in the nearby universe. It is the New York City of Laniakea. The great attractor is just Jersey City. We are in the boonies. We are moving towards the metropolis. The lights are brighter there, but the crime rate, collisions, is higher. We are country bumpkins heading to the big city to get mugged by gravity. The cosmic web is made of dark matter. The galaxies are just the fairy lights strung on the dark matter tree. The great attractor is the trunk of the tree, the thickest part. We are on a thin branch, sliding towards the trunk. The structure of the dark matter dictates our path. We are following the invisible rails laid down at the dawn of time. We obey the dark master. The Boots void is another scary neighbor, a massive sphere of nothing. If you were in the center of it, you wouldn't see any stars, just black. The local void is smaller but closer. Voids are the expanding bubbles in the cosmic foam. They squeeze the matter into the walls. We are the soap film between the bubbles. The great attractor is the thick intersection of the films. We are draining into the junction. The Norma cluster is hard to study because of the dust. It is extincted by the Milky Way. We lose magnitudes of light. It is like trying to study a forest through a thick fog. We see shapes, shadows, but not details. The mystery of the great attractor is preserved by this veil. It allows us to project our fears onto it. The unknown is always scarier than the known. The Kashlinsky flow measured via the kinetic Sunyaev-Zeldovich effect. This effect happens when CMB photons hit hot gas in clusters. They get a kick. This kick reveals the cluster's motion. It's how we found the dark flow. The photons are the witnesses. They saw the crime. The clusters are moving in unison towards the edge of the map. The testimony of the light is damning. Laniakea is a watershed, but watersheds can overflow. If the energy of dark energy increases, the watershed boundaries might shift. We might be captured by another supercluster, or released into the void. The map is dynamic. We are currently citizens of Laniakea, but the borders are drawn in pencil, not ink. The geopolitical map of the universe is subject to change by the administration of dark energy. The great attractor is a region of overdensity. The universe has an average density, very low. The attractor is thousands of times denser. It is a lump in the oatmeal. Gravity loves lumps. It makes them bigger. The rich get richer. The attractor steals matter from the voids and adds it to its hoard. It is a cosmic miser, hoarding galaxies in its vault. The end-of-the-world scenarios usually involve the sun dying. But the galactic end involves the attractor. If we survive the sun, we have to deal with the cluster, the radiation, the collisions, the rogue black holes. The attractor is the final boss of the video game of survival. We are currently on Level 1, Earth. Level 2 is the solar system. Level 3 is the galaxy. Level 10 is the great attractor. It gets harder. Supergalactic coordinates are used to map this. The equator of this system is the supergalactic plane. Most local galaxies lie on this plane. We are part of a flattened pancake of galaxies. The great attractor is at the center of the pancake. We are on the edge, rolling towards the center. The geometry is flat, not spherical. We are living in a cosmic pizza, and the attractor is the pepperoni in the middle. The Vela supercluster is hidden by the localized dust of the Milky Way disk. It was found by looking for the gravity first, then the light. We felt it before we saw it, like a presence in a dark room. You feel the heat, the gravity, the pressure. Then you turn on the flashlight and see the monster. Vela is the monster behind the curtain. The 7 samurai were Faber, Burstein, Lindenbell, Turlevich, Wagner, Davies, and Dressler. They are the heroes of this story. They mapped the flow. They found the river. They stood against the consensus and said, "We are moving." They changed cosmology. They proved that the universe has a geography, a flow, a life. Redshift is usually interpreted as expansion, but peculiar velocity adds a Doppler shift on top of it. If we move towards something, the redshift is lower. We have to subtract the expansion to see the flow. It is a complex subtraction game. We have to filter out the noise of the Big Bang to hear the music of the attractor. The music is a funeral march. The great attractor is roughly 200 million light-years away. Shapley is 650 million. They are aligned. This alignment is suspicious. A filament connects them. We are looking down the barrel of a gun. The filament is the barrel. The galaxies are the bullets. The gravity is the gunpowder. We are being fired into the heart of the supercluster. X-ray clusters, like the Norma cluster, are the brightest things in the X-ray sky. They outshine individual stars. They are clouds of death. The gas is so hot it emits X-rays. 100 million degrees. You can't fly a spaceship through that without heavy shielding. The intergalactic space in the attractor is not empty. It is a furnace. We are flying into an oven. The dipole repeller pushes us. But where did the void come from? Maybe it's a region where matter failed to clump. A cosmic failure. The underdogs of the universe are the voids. They have no matter, but they have power. They have the power of rejection. They reject the galaxies. Get out. Go to the attractor. We don't want you here. The void is antisocial. The local void is expanding at 260 kilometers per second. That is the push speed. The pull speed is roughly the same. It is a symmetric assault on our position. We are being bullied by the universe from both sides. Push and pull. It is a coordinated attack. We have no choice but to move. The path of least resistance leads to the attractor. Dark matter halos surround all galaxies. These halos are merging in the attractor. The dark matter is mixing. What happens when dark matter mixes? We don't know. Does it heat up? Does it annihilate? The attractor is a laboratory for dark matter physics. We are the test subjects. We are going to find out what dark matter does when it gets crowded. The zone of avoidance is clearing up with better tech. We are seeing the Puppis region, the Vela region. The map is filling in. The blank spots are vanishing. As the map completes, the trap becomes more visible. There are no exits. The walls of galaxies surround us. We are in a valley, and the only way out is through the grinder at the bottom. The great attractor has a gravitational influence radius of hundreds of millions of light-years. It touches us. It touches thousands of galaxies. It is the local king. Its reign is absolute. We are subjects of the crown of gravity. We pay our taxes in kinetic energy. We pay with our motion. The tax collector is coming, and he is huge. The Shapley supercluster is a gravitational sink. It is the bottom of the local universe. Water flows downhill. Galaxies flow to Shapley. It is the ocean. Laniakea is the river. We are the raft. The metaphor holds up physically. Potential energy is converted to kinetic energy. We are falling. The great attractor is just a waterfall on the way to the ocean. The CMB cold spot might be a texture in the multiverse. If so, the great attractor might be a texture too, a knot in the string. The universe is a fabric. Gravity is the wrinkles. The great attractor is a pleat. We are sliding into the fold. The fabric is being bunched up. We are being gathered. Laniakea borders the Perseus-Pisces supercluster. They are rivals, but they are connected. The filamentary structure ensures nothing is truly isolated. The web vibrates together. If you pluck a string in Perseus, we feel it in Laniakea. The universe is a harp. The song is gravity. The great attractor is a heavy chord, a bass note that rumbles through the cosmos. The future of the universe is one of isolation. But inside the attractor, the future is merger. Two different futures. One for the void, loneliness. One for the cluster, crowding. We are on the crowding track. We are destined for the mosh pit. The heat death will come later for us. First, we have to survive the fire death. Dark energy will eventually win. It will tear the superclusters apart. But not yet. Gravity has a few billion years left of dominance. We are living in the era of structure, the golden age of clusters. The great attractor is the peak of this era. It is the biggest thing that will ever exist. After this, the universe gets boring. We are witnessing the climax of cosmic history. The great attractor is a misnomer. It should be the great accumulator. It gathers, it collects. It doesn't just attract, it keeps. It is a cosmic hoarder. It never lets anything go. Once you check in, you never check out. The Hotel California of the universe. The dipole repeller is a void. Voids are spherical. Repellers are spherical. It pushes in all directions. We just happen to be on the side facing the attractor. If we were on the other side, we would be pushed towards Perseus-Pisces. We are unlucky, or lucky, to be on this slope. The roll of the cosmic dice placed us here. The zone of avoidance is 10 to 20 degrees wide. It slices the sky. It is the Milky Way's shadow. The great attractor hides in the shadow. It is the monster under the bed. The bed is our galaxy. We are sleeping on top of the thing that is eating us. As we approach the final phase of our script, we must look at the philosophical horror. The universe is not built for us. It is a machine of vast forces. We are accidental passengers. The great attractor proves our insignificance. We are dust in the wind, but the wind is a gravitational hurricane. There is a theory in astrophysics called the Big Snap. It hypothesizes that if the expansion of the universe accelerates too quickly, it could snap the cosmic filaments like rubber bands. If the filaments connecting us to the great attractor were to snap, the Milky Way would be flung into the void. We would become a rogue galaxy, untethered from the Laniakea supercluster, drifting alone in the dark forever. This scenario is almost scarier than the collision. Being eaten by the attractor means death by fire. Snapping off means death by ice. We are currently walking a tightrope between these two fates. The tension in the filament is immense. We are hanging by a thread of dark matter over an abyss of nothingness. Let's reconsider the great attractor as a biological entity. If the universe is a brain, as some neural network simulations suggest, then the great attractor is a neuron. It is a processing center where information, matter, is gathered and integrated. We are simply a packet of data being transmitted to the neuron. This panpsychist view of the cosmos makes the horror more personal. We are not just falling into a hole, we are being digested by a mind. The consciousness of the universe, if it exists, is concentrated in these dense clusters. We are returning to the source of cosmic thought. The Virgo cluster contains M87, the galaxy with the black hole we first photographed. That monster is 6.5 billion solar masses, and M87 is just a minnow compared to the monsters in the Shapley supercluster. The scale of black holes scales with the size of the cluster. In the core of Shapley, there might be black holes of 100 billion solar masses. Slabs, stupendously large black holes. These objects would be the size of our entire solar system. Their event horizons would be larger than the orbit of Pluto. We are heading towards the realm of the slabs. Galactic cannibalism is the technical term for what happens in the attractor. Large galaxies eat small ones. The Milky Way is a cannibal. We have eaten the Sagittarius dwarf galaxy, but in the attractor, we will be the snack. A massive CD galaxy, a giant elliptical, at the center of the Norma cluster is waiting for us. It has eaten thousands of galaxies like ours. It is a graveyard of spirals. Its stars are the bones of its victims. We are bringing our bones to the pile. The local void is so empty that if you were teleported to its center, you would see nothing. No stars, no galaxies, just absolute black. The human mind would break. The horror of the void is a real psychological phenomenon. The great attractor saves us from this. By pulling us, it keeps us in the company of light. It is a shepherd, herding the flock away from the cliff of the void. The shepherd is a wolf, but at least it keeps us away from the edge. Peculiar motion allows us to predict the future. We can rewind the clock to see where we came from and fast forward to see where we are going. The simulation shows a drainage pattern. The universe drains into the attractors. Over trillions of years, the voids will expand until they touch, and the attractors will be the only things left. Isolated islands of light in a universe of darkness. The great attractor is a lifeboat. A crowded, sinking lifeboat, but the only one we have. The zone of avoidance also hides the great attractor's wall, a wall of galaxies stretching across the sky. It is a barricade. We are moving towards the barricade. Are we going to crash into it or merge with it? The distinction is semantic. The result is the same, the end of the Milky Way as a discrete entity. We will become part of the wall. Another brick in the structure. Dark flow implies that the universe is not a closed system. If matter is flowing out, or being pulled by something outside, it suggests leakage. We might be leaking into another dimension. The great attractor might be the nozzle. The brain theory of the multiverse suggests gravity can leak between brains. We are feeling the gravity of a shadow universe. The ghost is real, and it is heavy. The dipole repeller is a region of high, quote, gravitational potential. In physics, things roll from high potential to low potential. The repeller is the peak of the hill. The attractor is the bottom of the well. We are the ball rolling down. The physics is simple classical mechanics but applied to the entire universe. We are a marble in a bowl. Laniakea is 100,000 galaxies. But it is just a lobe of a larger structure. The Ho'olilana structure was recently discovered, a bubble of galaxies, remnants of sound waves from the Big Bang. These baryon acoustic oscillations are fossils of the first sound. The great attractor sits on the edge of one of these sound bubbles. We are surfing a sound wave from creation. The Norma cluster is the great attractor proper, but the flow doesn't stop there, it goes through it. It's a highway, not a parking lot. We will pass through Norma and head to Shapley. It is a tour of the monsters. We are on a sightseeing trip of the deadliest places in the cosmos. And we have a front row seat. Superclusters are not gravitationally bound in the long run. Dark energy will tear Laniakea apart. The great attractor will split from the Milky Way eventually. We might not make it. We might be torn away just before we reach the finish line. This cosmic tease is the ultimate irony. We rush towards the doom, only to be saved by the void, only to freeze alone. Pick your poison. The cold spot might be a texture of the void. If the void is a bubble, the cold spot is the thinnest part of the bubble wall. It is nearly popping. If it pops, what enters? Nothingness, or the laws of physics from another universe. The great attractor is trying to hold the bubble together with gravity. It is the glue. X-ray emission signifies death. When gas glows in X-rays, it is too hot to form stars. It is ionized. The great attractor is a region of sterility. It has been sterilized by gravity. It is a hospital where everyone is terminal. The Milky Way is a healthy patient walking into a plague ward. The great attractor is a mass concentration. It bends space so much that time dilates. If you were there, looking back at Earth, you would see us moving in fast forward. We are in the slow lane. They are in the fast lane. The relativity of time makes the journey subjective. To the universe, it is a blink. To us, it is eternity. The seven samurai used elliptical galaxies as standard candles. They measured the distance and the speed. The difference revealed the flow. It was a brilliant piece of detective work. They interrogated the galaxies until they confessed their motion. The confession was, "We are being pulled." The dipole repeller pushes. The cold spot repeller pushes. The universe is full of bullies. We're being shoved around. The great attractor is the only one opening its arms. But its embrace is crushing. The psychological profile of the universe is abusive. Laniakea is a supercluster. But is it a bound structure? Debatable. Dark energy is fighting it. It might be a dissolving structure. We are living in a transient city, a city that is crumbling as we drive through it. The great attractor is the last tower standing. The zone of avoidance is 20 degrees. That is the size of 40 full moons lined up, a huge scar across the sky, the hidden sector, the spooky sector. We project our fears into the dark. But this time, the fear was justified. There really was a monster in the closet. Dark flow has a speed of 1,000 kilometers per second. That is faster than the great attractor flow. It is a stronger current. It overrides the local current. We are being swept out to sea. The great attractor is just a rock in the river. We might flow right past it. The Shapley supercluster is the true king. The great attractor is just the prince. Shapley has the mass, it has the power. We should rename the video the Shapley Pull. But great attractor sounds better. It captures the mystery. The unknown is always more marketable than the known. Ram pressure stripping removes the gas. The galaxy becomes a skeleton. The stars remain, but the flesh is gone. The great attractor is a taxidermist. It strips the galaxies and mounts them on the wall of the cluster. We are next in line for the process. The Big Crunch is dead as a theory for the whole universe, but it is alive for the great attractor. Locally, space is crunching. We are experiencing a local apocalypse. The rest of the universe gets a heat death. We get a crunch. We are special. The particle horizon limits our knowledge. We can't see what's pulling the dark flow. It is unknowable. This is cosmic horror at its finest. The fear of the unknown. We are being pulled by a question mark. Laniakea means immeasurable heaven. It was named by a Hawaiian linguistics professor. It honors the navigators who used the stars. Now we are the navigators. But the ocean is gravity, and the island is a black hole. The Great Wall is a filament. The great attractor is a knot. We are a thread. The tapestry of the universe is woven with gravity. We are part of the pattern. We cannot leave the pattern. Fate is woven into the physics. Dark energy versus gravity, the ultimate battle. In the void, dark energy wins. In the attractor, gravity wins. We are crossing the front lines. We are moving from the losing side to the winning side. But winning means being crushed. The dipole repeller is a ghost. It is nothing, but nothing pushes. This paradox is beautiful. The absence of matter creates the presence of force. The holes in the cheese define the structure of the cheese. Peculiar velocity is the speed of our anxiety. If we were stationary, we would be calm. But we are moving. We are rushing. The universe is in a hurry. Why? Where are we going? To the end. The great attractor is a gravitational lens. It distorts the background. It hides the truth. It is a liar. It shows us a warped version of reality. We can't trust our eyes in the direction of Centaurus. Shapley is the attractor of the attractor, the master of the puppet. Who pulls Shapley? Is there a super Shapley? The chain of command goes up. The hierarchy of the cosmos is vertical. We are at the bottom. The zone of avoidance is a challenge. We accepted the challenge. We built radio telescopes. We saw through the dust. We found the city. We shouldn't have looked. Now we know. Ignorance was bliss. Dark flow is controversial. But if it's true, it changes everything. It breaks the universe. It means we are not contained. We are leaking. The universe is not a closed box. It is an open pipe. Laniakea is our home address. Milky Way local group Laniakea supercluster. But the address is moving. We are moving house. We are taking the furniture stars with us. The destination is a furnace. The Norma cluster is the dense core. It is the downtown. It is where the traffic is. We are stuck in the traffic. The gridlock of gravity. There is no turning back. No U-turns on the cosmic highway. Red and dead galaxies. That is our future. The blue spiral arms will fade. The star formation will stop. We will become a red ball of old stars, a ghost of our former glory. The Great Attractor is a retirement home for galaxies. The Great Attractor is a mass anomaly. It shouldn't be there. The universe should be smoother. But it isn't. The anomaly is the reality. The smooth universe exists only in textbooks. The real universe is lumpy and dangerous. The dipole repeller is the yin to the attractor's yang. Balance. Push and pull. Life and death. We are in the middle. The tension defines us. We are the string being tuned by the cosmos. Cosmic flow is the blood of the universe. We are the cells. The attractor is the heart. It pumps the blood. We are circulating. The universe is alive. And it is hungry. The seven samurai found the flow. They are the cartographers of the apocalypse. They drew the map of the end. We should thank them. Knowing is better than not knowing, even if the news is bad. Dark matter is the key. The Great Attractor is a dark matter mountain. We are climbing it. Or falling down it. Depends on your perspective. Gravity is a slope. We are on the slope. The zone of avoidance is the veil. We lifted the veil. We saw the face of the bride. The bride is a black hole cluster, a wedding of doom. The Milky Way is walking down the aisle. Shapley waits behind the attractor, the final boss, the biggest monster. We will merge with the attractor, then fall into Shapley. A double death, a two-stage digestion. Dark flow is the wild card. It might save us, or kill us faster. We don't know. The uncertainty is the thrill. The universe still has secrets, big ones. Laniakea is a beautiful name for a terrifying place. A heaven of gravity, a paradise of collisions. We are residents of this paradise. Enjoy the view while it lasts. The Great Attractor is the end of the line, the terminus, the period at the end of the sentence. The story of the local group ends there. It is a definitive conclusion. Entropy wins. It always wins. The attractor creates entropy. It destroys structure. We are structure. We will be destroyed. It is the law. The second law. The universe is vast, cold, and indifferent. But in the Great Attractor it is hot, crowded, and aggressive. We are moving from the freezer to the frying pan. We are 200 million light years away. We have time. But the destination is set. The ticket is punched. The train is moving. Sit back and watch the stars go by. The Great Attractor is not just a place, it is a destiny. It is the inevitable conclusion of gravity's relentless work. We are not lost. We are being collected. The universe is folding itself up, and we are caught in the crease.